Hey guys, we're doing a short video today showing a feature that I wish I'd known about for the last 2.5 years while I've owned this machine, but I've discovered it now and I want to show it to you guys, and that feature is called EdgeSeek. EdgeSeek is fantastic for automating the process of setting your start point. This is great if you are using lower skilled employees to load panels under your machine so that mistakes aren't made, or if you're using a loading robot that doesn't precisely set each piece. So to begin with, we're going to go into EdgeSeek and we're going to just click on here. There's a few things that you can set up. So edge seeking speed 100 millimeters a second, that's fine. In my shop, I use two different sizes of sheet metal. I use either 1220 square or I use 600 by 1200 rectangles. Now, I always lay them in the same way. So the width, I'm going to leave at 1200, and the length I'm going to leave at 600, and that will work for both sizes. This doesn't have to be exactly correct, but the way it's going to use the longer edge length, this 1200, to set the angle, and that's going to be more accurate if you give it the wider side. Correction value. What this is used for is if you're, let's say, a sign guy and you're not using the automated nesting features, you'll want to set this number to however far you want the part away from the edge of the sheet metal. Now, if you're using the nesting feature and you've already properly set up your sizes of sheet metal as well as your plate margins so that the cutter doesn't run off the side, then you should set this as near to 0 as you can. I'm going to set it for 1 millimeter in this instance right now. Rising height 20 millimeter, edge seek target height 4 millimeter. Not 100% sure what those do, but we're just going to leave that set up like that. Another instruction that's here: jog to the appropriate starting position, then select seek operation. Now there's two ways that you can control this as well, or a few different ways. You can either leave it set up like this. You'll want to clear the seek after cutting. This does not affect if you hit the stop button. It will keep the seek position loaded. That way if you have to restart and you want to resume where it was cutting, it's not a problem. This is how you manually clear the seek results, say if you move the sheet and then you want to re-seek the edge. And you can also select it to seek edge before work. So when you click the start button, instead of cutting from that position, it will relocate itself. This is fantastic if you're doing high production work where you might be doing 20 to 100 sheets in a day. That will save you a lot of time. You can just click the start button and walk away from the machine. Alright, so let's go ahead and show you an example of that. Our first example, we're going to set it for a nest plate. I already have a nested part here, and I've used the back left corner. So as it said, we're going to move close to the corner and then press the button manually. So as I said, we're going to go back and over, just kind of close, good enough. And now I'm going to manually press the FN button, which I think is function, and then press edge seek together. And it's going to drop down, and it's using the widths and lengths that we installed before. And it's going to do 3 points. So those back two were to set the angle, and the edge one was to set the edge. Now, if you look in the display, I don't know if you can read this, it's really small on my screen, but it tells you the amount of angle it adjusted, and it actually will turn the parts, your entire nested part, on the sheet, so that way it's squared. Let's do it again. But now we'll do the correction value for an individual part. Alright, so now what we've done is we have added a correction value of 10 millimeters. We've left everything else the same. And this is going to be if you were making a one-off part and not using the nest plate margins. We're just going to click OK on this. And it's still exactly in the same spot from before. Oh, one more second. I'm going to go to edge seek. I'm going to clear the seek result. That way it doesn't do it again. So I'm not cheating. All right, so we're just going to move it down over into kind of a random location. Hit FN and edge seek again. And it's just going to use those 2 points to find the angle. I've purposely set the sheet crooked. And then it does all the math. And there it is, 10 millimeters in on both directions. So that way we're not cutting right on the edge of the part. So now I'm going to show you how we'll use this in production. So since this is going to be a nested plate, we're going to move these correction values down to only 1 millimeter because I already have margin programmed. The margin's already programmed in the nest sheet. And this is 1200 by 600. The actual sheet's 4x4. That's not a problem. It's just going to use the X width, the back edge, and it's going to think that the thing's a little smaller. Not a problem. It'll work fine on 4x4 sheets, and it works fine on 2x4 sheets. So you don't have to change this just because you changed your plate size. It's only used for the math as to where it's going to check the part for angle. So we're going to hit OK on that, and we are going to switch this. We're going to turn Seek Edge before work. So when you press the start button, it's automatically going to seek. It's going to load the results, and it's going to begin cutting. So we're just going to hit the start button. You do need to be fairly close, especially when you max out the size, when you're near maximum size, but it should work. So let's hit start. It's just going to drop down. Again, it's going to use those 2 points to find the angle. That to figure out where the edge is. It's going to automatically turn the machine on. It would be cutting right now, but I have the laser turned off. So, hopefully that was useful.